Good morning, good morning, good morning. What's up, everybody? How we doing?
Good.
Awesome. Let me stop my stuff here and get back to all you fine people this morning. Good morning. We still have some people popping in. We got a great crowd this morning. I knew Kenny was going to draw a good crowd. He's a rock star.
Hey, you carry some weight here because I've been making my morning calls and invited Carol Nolan. She doesn't show up for mine, but she's bright-eyed, bushy-tailed for you, Mr. Byrd.
Hey, don't be picking on my people. I'm going to defend Carol here. This is defend Carol day here.
Well, I just want to say that the schedule you gave me, Matt, it tells me to come on to Larry. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I got to give you my schedule. It sounds like, all right.
Hey, no self-promoting, Matthew. What are you doing?
And Simone, she told me she was going to be gone this week. I haven't seen her all week, but she hops on for you, man.
I'm gonna kick you out of here if you start picking on my people, boy.
You got a lot of pull, brother. I'm just impressed.
Listen, it's Thursday. We're gonna have some fun today. I'm excited to talk about. I'm kidding with Matthew, by the way. I would give him the shirt off my back. But Kenny, good morning, man. How are you doing?
Good morning, guys. How are you,
brother?
I'm good.
What's that?
He's doing good. He said.
I'm doing great.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. I thought I heard I've been sick. I don't want that. Good to see you, man. So, Kenny, thank you for being here. The outline of this morning basically is, anytime you want, the first 30 minutes we carve out to just have conversations and motivations. And we have some guest speakers that have come in. Thank you for being here. And it's really just to share a little bit of your journey, how you overcame some of the objections and obstacles along the way of building a big organization. And I've connected with some of the top 100 people in the company. And we've had, everybody from Gene, Frederick, Brent Gove to, some other rock stars on the call, including yourself. So real quick, I just want to give a little bio, and then I'm going to ask you to please brag on yourself, let people know who you are, maybe something about you not everybody knows. But Kenny, top producer since 2001, was the #1 agent for the number of homes sold in Oakland. My backyard, I was in Santa Rosa, Napa, and I remember the name. He was named Inman Most Innovative Agent Broker of the Year through his savvy marketing systems and other systems. So think about that for a minute, being Agent of the Year. And if you're not muted, mute yourself. That way I'll mute a couple of people as I see it. But if you make noise, it'll pop up on the as the speaker. But let me go through and mute a couple of people just in case. Because if you're driving or moving around, you're going to be showing up on the screen. So awesome. So, Kenny has spoken dozens of times each year across the U.S. to teach agents how to up their marketing game and bring more value to their clients. So I know, Kenny, that we will have a conversation about how to, bring agent attraction into the marketing spotlight that you've been able to really accomplish very well. And so with that, welcome, Kenny, and please brag on yourself for a minute. There's a lot of people that don't know who you are and your success that you've had. And I'm begging you, I'm giving you permission. Please brag on yourself and let us know who you are.
I got to update my website because I've heard that file a couple times, but it hasn't been updated since 2019. It lists as #1 in 2019. I'm 12 and a half, 13 years in the business. This is my third brokerage. Currently at E3 Realty. Obviously, that's why I'm on this call. I run a sales team of about 325 sales team member here in the Bay Area, with about 300, slightly over 300 in the Bay Area and almost 28 in Southern California. So we've been expanding. This year we've done about, I think, $560 million closed business. We have about 80, maybe 85 million pending. So it's a pretty big feat for us.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, we went from $56 million 3 years ago to 127 to 694, and then this year we're hoping to break $1 billion. We're kind of pacing. Our original goal was $2 billion. It was a big goal, but then had the market continue to do what it was doing, which was going in the right direction with very little attrition in our sales team. That was a number that we hit, but now we're just seeking $1 billion. We're kind of known for our marketing marketing on the team. One way we were able to grow EXP early on was not to promote the EXP. Sounds odd. One kind of my recent thing that I'm famous for was 2.5 years ago on EXP. In late January, the pandemic hit. We were here for a month, and then the world shut down. So what I ended up doing was I was on about 70 webinars, like just like this. I hosted about 34, 35 of them. They're all recorded on YouTube. Where I brought together. Yeah, so I was doing this kind of like speaking or being on panels a lot, but I also set up panels like this where I held like 20, 25 top 1% on Media County, top 1% Contra Costa County. Mindset and motivation classes, or like, hey, here's three tech tools you can use, like an Inman Startup Alley, and then I end up that really got me really famous in my area when the market was shut down. Because then I would have a Zoom, have hundreds of people on Zoom, and tag them on Facebook, and then distribute everywhere. So that was a very short opportunity that can't be replicated, and as I'm always seeking those like unique things that can't be done again, and that's why I've been able to grow my business. Or grow my brand. And yesterday, someone just reminded me that like at the Golden State Warriors parade, I don't know, 5 years ago when they won the parade, there was 2 million people out around Lake Barrett in Oakland, and then I actually bought the sky out. Yeah, it says #1 Kenny Truong, #1 agent in Oakland, or Client Real Estate, #1 agent on Zillow. Kenny Truong, again, but it was like $21,000 in but 30 minutes, and then to this day people talk about that. So
millions of views, millions eyeballs.
Yeah. Probably not millions, but like I think like 20 people had text their friend or the lender or the agent in the space like, hey, who's this guy? So I don't know if that's gotten me any business directly for home selling, but then in what I'm doing there right now, which is focused on agent attraction, it's helped a lot.
Yeah, and Kenny, what I've seen through the top people in the company is attraction is that recognition, right? It's giving recognition. The top agents usually are having the greatest success with attraction because they have that name recognition. So I think they're very tied together. And also, as we look at agent attraction, it's really about getting the door open, right? It's trying to get your foot in the door for that initial conversation. And you could do that through your production and through your notoriety as an agent, like you've done.
Yeah. Last week I was talking to the #1 team in the state, like production wise. We were at a big event in Santa Cruz, a lot of big speakers, and they really didn't know what EXP. They knew what EXP was, they didn't understand of it. So they're really smart people, $250 million team. So I got into the nitty gritty of what EXP and how to attract. So I brought up the list of top influencers, the top 25, because I had the listing on the monthly list, and I could actually name off what at least 22 of the 25 people did. Like, hey, here's a YouTube star, this person does Instagram, this is a coach. Like everyone has a kind of niche, and I'm sure there's other really great people in the top 1,000. I just don't know them all. I spend my time studying what the top people are doing. Like you're obviously way up on that list too, ready. But I was able to like, I don't know everyone personally, but I was able to rattle off like, hey, this person does this person does this. So you got to really find out what your thing is if you're attracting agents to the space, because with 85,000 agents out there and 85,000 options, what makes you unique? So for me, a lot of times very often I lean on my upline and I talk about our group a lot, and then talk about EXP, our group, and our networking and all that, because you want to be able to not just sell what yourself, but sell what you bring. And even if you might not be a big producer, you might have some big people supporting you that can get in front of people.
Absolutely. And do you mind if we ask what size your org is, and FLA, FLQA? I know they're going to be curious in this call.
Yeah, I'm at let me pull up my thing. My group size this morning I looked at was like 507.
Awesome.
Yeah, 507. So I have 87 FLAs and 52 FLQAs. For my group though, the 507 total, I looked at it, about like almost 250 is my team. So that does attribute a lot to it, but I saw how hard, early on, having the right mentors, I saw how difficult FLQA started to get. So having a team, now I'm starting to see big producers now start teams. So I'm going to
talk to you about that, because I think that's a really hot topic right now specifically. And Glenn's brilliant, right? When he built this 40 FLQA, that's no joke. because when I first looked at it, I'm like, I enrolled 55 people in KW in my first 18 months. This is going to be a piece of cake. It's designed on purpose, right? It definitely is. And, it's a challenge to get to that level of frontline enrollment. And I think teams are the future, especially as we look at these bigger icon producers and the alphas and things. They're all having conversations about building teams of some sort, right? You've really perfected that. And that's one of the things that attracted us to having you on the call is you really have put that into a place of, it gives you a lot of flexibility within your organization, right? So do you have a mega team?
Yeah, we have.
I mean mega team classification with EXP.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
With $4,000 cap.
Yep.
Give you like some perspective. I came with EXP. I mean, this is my third time doing a team. I brought over a team of 10. We were one of the biggest teams in the Bay Area. We ranked number 23 in California for mid-size teams, which is pretty strong. So I came over a team of 10, 12 by the time I landed at EXP in January. By the following January, I had about 90 people on my team. And then this January, I had 220. And then now we're at 3-ish. But this year, we've recruited about 170 agents. We lost like 60. So attrition is a very real thing. The national average for attrition for agents leaving your brokerage or your team is about 30%. Last year we did well. I think it was like floating around maybe closer to under 20%, but this year has been very real. Last week alone, I lost $45 million in production on my sales team.
Wow.
4 to 5 or close to 40 million of the 45 million have actually went solo EXP. So they're still staying, but it's a very, this market's doing a lot of things right now. It is. Either we're in a weird market where you have to work extra hard to make the same money you had last year, where extra hard is not going to cut it, but not everyone wants to work extra hard because, we're all at different points of our lives. We have a lot of family, people on vacation, investment, such. So we're seeing that weird mix. But with that said, now we're picking up agents from other companies that aren't getting the resources that they're looking for, that do want to work extra hard. So
it works both ways, right? You're going to lose some that don't see the
Yeah.
value in the team and think they could save money by not having a team split. And then the other agents you see that are seeing the absolute value of the team. And Gary Keller recently said that he thinks teams are, I'm sorry, it was Tom Ferry said this on stage. He said, teams are going to be the future. The single agent is dead, right? That's a bold statement from somebody like Tom Ferry. Now I've heard it from other industry leaders. And you're not going to get rid of the agent entirely. But if you look at a majority of the industry, a significant amount of agents are going to struggle being independent and competing with guys like you that have 200-300 team members and can leverage out a lot of that resources and items. Right?
Yeah. One thing bad, I guess. So there's sure you see, at least in the US, there's like 70% less mortgage applications. There's 70% less online leads. So there's less people to work with. The people who are not going solo can probably wing it out and do it pretty well. They're not using our resources. But then when the market does pick back up, things go crazy again. You need help with showings, you need partnership. So everyone's doing the best they can to make decisions that work whether it makes sense for them right now. Like Gary Keller also said at MegaCamp, this quoting him in Inman, this is the most confusing market he's ever seen. So we're seeing it. So we're losing big producers stuff, but then we're recruiting three or four people for every person we leave, but then it takes longer for them to produce. But our average agent on the team, including people who do no deals, have done 7 deals a year in the last 2 years. I haven't measured this year's stats yet. So 7 deals is pretty good considering our average price point is around $750. Most of our agents are making 6 figures on TCI. That's something.
Yeah, that's a great average number on a team your size. I mean, when you have a team of 5, then that's a different delta. But when you're looking at a team your size to have an average transaction of 7, that's a big number.
Yeah,
that's a solid team. I love that.
And like 55% of our agents have done the deal this year. At least that's when we checked last.
I love that. So I'm getting some questions. Let me take a note here. I've done deals. All right. So Simone asked, do you actively sell the quarter cap to the agents? Is that like a value proposition on the team? I would imagine it's got some value.
Yeah, it's not like the biggest thing. It's part of it's a standard for us. So I don't sell that as a big value add.
Okay.
You guys want? I mean, here's our pitch deck that constantly gets updated. We added some cool stuff this week. Kind of get an idea of who we are.
Let me make it so you could share if you want to share.
And one thing like I really focus
Oh, thank you.
focus on recruiting, but messaging is huge. So early on, and like don't be afraid to kind of evolve whatever your offer is. Like early on, we were the fun team to be at, high in training. This was January 2020, and then towards I think August 2020, we got word that we were going to get on Zillow Flex. Zillow Flex last year 70% of business. So we are not a heavy online lead team, but we were the first team to get Zillow Flex online leads in the whole Bay Area. So that was a selling point. So we were focused
That's
on
a
that.
big deal.
But then later last year, we actually lost almost 40 agents to one single brokerage that's local to us in a different county across the bridge because they had a personal cap for their agents and they had Zillow Flex. So if the agents aren't using your resources, then they don't see a reason to stay. So that's why if you're a sole EXP agent, you really need to be able to sell what your group offers, what EXP offers, bring people into masterminds, bring people to training events, because they need to see the value. Otherwise, they'll go somewhere else. Because a lot of times it's hard to sell a lot of things to people when you have so much of it. So we constantly evolved. Again, we were a tech trading team, we were a Zillow Flex team. Now, early last year, we completely stopped invite people to Zillow Flex. Like we're not Zillow Flex. If you're looking for online leads, we're not the home for you. And now we shifted this whole direction into at least a half year. The video I just dropped. We're a content creation team. We're really focused on social media and helping agents build their personal brands. If you go to Inman, you go to Tom Ferry, whatever conference, it's all social media. You got top recruiters, all social media. So we continue to kind of shift the messaging. Is one thing I learned from this coach Sean Teplak was, as your group grows, as your team grows, there's always a culture, but then the subculture is what people are attracted to. And then as your company grows, the subculture outweighs the culture. So early on, I built my name and business in online leads and marketing, but I built my company there. But as we grew, the DNA of your team or your organization revolves around you. So my team tends to be on the younger side. They're more outgoing and fun. That's what I'll leave it at. We have so many events. But as we're growing and evolving, we want to open up what we are and kind of modify that. So it's not just one type of agent you're bringing on. So we went from the DNA around me now to a whole organization that revolves around content creation. And they kind of evolve. All this is kind of has my DNA in it, but the company has gotten so big, it's not me anymore. I'm just one small piece of the company.
I love that. So very impressive story, very impressive success trajectory you've had. Let's break it down a little bit. Let's go backwards, if you could, Kenny, to some of the people that maybe don't have a big team like that want to create some momentum in their organizational businesses. What would you recommend for them based on your journey and your experience in EXP?
I would say, regards to your team size, have your operations out. In that January came over, by the time I had June hit, I had 17 agents, which again, it's almost double my size team within a couple of months. We hired a sales manager, or not really sales manager. Now his role is director of sales and coaching. He doesn't do any contract stuff, so something to motivate the team. I'm sure you guys had that in your different groups. And then we were hiring assistants and such. But one thing I would say is, as you're growing your production business or your attraction business, really have operating procedures, something that people can copy and duplicate and replicate. So just last year, I'll give you an example. I mean, and all stuff like we sell ourselves on, like our content creation, our video producer, our email marketing manager, all that started this year. But last August, we hired head of education and mentorship, and she actually just left that position this last month to focus on production. But in that year, we put together a spreadsheet of different topics, and then we had people recorded here's the 10 steps of working with buyers, there's 10 steps of working with sellers, there's 10 steps of open houses or something like that. And we had individual agents recorded, and then we kind of updated videos by then. So building a training library is really big, whether it might be an agent attraction training library or a sales 101 training library. So that way you're not repeating yourself all the time. So you can learn how the more, if you find yourself repeating something more than a couple of times, maybe you should have a video about that. That way the next person So we're onboarding like 25 agents a month right now, and it's very smooth. It hasn't always been that way, but we're always constantly like seeing how to do it.
And is that in your organization or your team, or is it kind of the same for you?
For my team, we did hire someone to learning from Gene and Brett. We hired someone to we hired virtual assistants. We have 5. We hired 5 in the last couple months, but every time we hire from something, they end up doing something else, which
Right.
finding something better. But I'm that's still on my list to hire an onboarding specialist to bring someone into EXP and walk them to the KV core and walk them to SkySlub, walk them to EXP where we have not accomplished that yet. So it's something on the list, and we had that. Yeah, we're dealing with our own onboarding. Let me see if I can find this. This is old. Let me see if I can share this. So this is very old. This hasn't been updated over a year and a half. Just give an example of where we started. This is our onboarding checklist for agents, and they can tell us to any salespeople really, or we don't know, not everyone did their stuff. But this is like invite to this. It may be for you guys to add the, make sure they walk through EXP World, make sure they get their email signature set up, make sure if you have custom signs as a design for your group or better design, maybe you could do that. These are links, by the way. So we did this, and this is not really manageable when you're at the size we're at or getting to the size we're at. So we moved onboarding, then we moved it to Asana.com. It's pretty inexpensive for a checklist style.
That's cool.
You could use Trello. I've seen people use. Oh yeah, Simone that's here in Chicago. I think he had a really cool Trello board. As long as you just making sure you're hitting all the things. And now we have a pretty advanced onboard system with Sisu and Asana. I don't know how it works. I just know it gets done. And then we had once a month foundation preparation class for people who's onboarded with us 30, 60 days to kind of get them more introduced to the company. But that wasn't frequent enough. Now we do a weekly Friday call where people can hop on and ask open-ended questions. So the onboarding process is very, very important because you can lose a lot of people along the way. And we're still dealing with it right now. We have people that have onboarded or joined us since April, and then they're leaving the company, but they also haven't sold things. So we're dealing with a lot of that right now. There's 30% attrition in the National Association of Realtors, at least in the US, and on our team. So now we signed up for a new tool called Podium. I found out about it in Admin. Podium is a tool to get reviews. Actually, it's really good for your business too. Podium to get Google reviews. But another aspect of this tool is you can plug in a bunch of phone numbers and run campaigns. So it could be a campaign asking for reviews, or for us, we're trying to find a way to internally communicate with our team members. Hey, here's a coaching call today. Here's a team meeting today. Because our Slack, we have 40, 50 channels in Slack. We literally have over 100,000 messages on Slack. It's like workplace. It's a mess in there. Mine's organized, but most people aren't. So it's kind of hard to see. And not everyone texts or email. So now we got to resort to texting for like the really important stuff. And we're trying to do things like, you can think about this for your organization too. We haven't launched it yet, but we do use a tool called Monday. I know there's a lot of tools being thrown out, but this tool on Monday, we track productivity. We track everyone's production, their sales, the year-over-year productivity, how many sales they've done this year and such. So we're thinking of using Podium, this texting tool. You can literally just text someone. You don't need a tool to text someone. But hey, letting them know this is your production year to year. You're doing well, or hey, or we should have a chat, and here's a link to chat. So we're trying to do reach out. So if you want to do high retention in your group, you need to find ways to like get in front of people. And that's what most of my time is spent in my company is thinking of not just recruiting. Actually, it's more spent on retention.
Yeah, so true. And Simone took the words out of my mouth. You don't need to know everything. It's really about leveraging yourself and bringing in other people that you have an accountability to, or they have an accountability to you, but they're the ones running that particular department or that segment of it.
I'll give a plug to Meyer, Thakkar, and John Pugh. They have one of the fast. I think they might have like top 5 fastest growing groups in the EXP right now. They bring on like KW. Meyer and John, they have an assistant named Chelsea Gray. She's actually doing onboarding for people in their group, but also people not in the group. I think he charges like $100. So that's an option too. We haven't looked into it because then I work closely with Meyer and John too, because we're Southern California office. They're in Southern California. I'm throwing my team down here. So they're recruiting downline and recruiting team members. So we're learning this system too. But if you don't have someone that can onboard correctly, like maybe pay someone to do it. Because I lost an agent last 2 weeks ago that came over one day, and I've been trying to get over here for a year now, and she talked more closely last month. But she freaked out. I'm sure you see this to people like this. She joined, and then she couldn't get some answers right away from brokers. Like, this is always going to be like this. I can't. And I didn't tell her I was in Mexico City. That's my fault. I really should have said. I was on the plane for a couple hours, so she didn't answer right away. There's some people are just going to be like that. It's just frantic.
Yeah.
And then if that's 6 hours of being at ESP and she was freaking out for 3 hours, she actually changed her license back the same day and it activated the next day. So she was here and left back.
Wow.
Because the experience with that, but my team was like, we were on it. There was like email threads, 20 replies.
Right.
I was on it, but that gap right there had that one short moment, and she was kind of nervous too, going through all virtual. So still working on it, still working on bringing her back. I'm trying to meet her in person next week, but that's probably an extreme example, but that does happen. I've heard people coming over. I've heard people coming over and leaving within a couple months. This was like years ago, like really make teams to the onboarding process. It took over a month or two to onboard someone, which is crazy. Now it takes like a day. So
I remember those days. Unfortunately, we lost a couple big groups. One brokerage had 40 over the onboarding, and it's a different world now. I mean, we had a couple hundred employees versus almost 2,000 now. But like to your point, we started an onboarding program this year as a leader. So now we onboard everybody for free in my organization. And a lot of people still don't know about it, but we have our leaders, Matthew and Don and Tom, they do their own onboarding programs, and that's great. We want to just offer a blanket, kind of an umbrella service if it's if it helps people. And so if you're in my organization, make sure you use us. We want to support you in this. And it's really about setting up the expectation of what the agent's experience is going to be, right? Because that's usually the only time you could break down that expectation is when there's not one set. So I really love that. What a great call, great insight. You are a rock star. I appreciate you coming to the call and giving us some nuggets today and sharing your systems and website. That kind of stuff's awesome. We'll have all this on my site as well. We record this portion, then we do live calls here at the top of the hour. We don't record that for obvious reasons. We don't want to talk to Jane and then a month later Jane's in our group and listens to a recording of something. So any last parting nugget that you think that would help the people on this call? We've got a great call today, almost 30 people on it. And these are, builders and people really focused on their agent attraction. Any takeaways of whatever you want to say, anything going on in the future, whatever you're excited about, anything, Kenny?
Yeah, just kind of off what we just talked about right before this was leaning on the people. Like, you gotta, when I talk to someone like bigger or pretty important, I always bring my sponsor in and his sponsor and his sponsor. We bring in Sean Murphy, we bring in a team specialist, get as many people involved in that conversation as possible, because there's things that we don't know how to answer correctly. So like we're at a 50 agent broker just moved over this week. The broker just signed on yesterday with me. And I'm super excited about that. I would say 75% of the work was done by my sponsor. Like, he's really good at hugging and holding them back. Last time we're like, this is how we do things. Right. But they wanted my system processes. So everyone has a different special talent or trait, and if you gotta all work together. I think it's really the magic.
You're the integrator and he's the influencer basically, and the personality stuff. Who's your sponsor?
Jeremy Larson and Daniel Bear.
Awesome. It's a great group.
Yeah, great people. Yeah.
Well, listen, man, I really, really appreciate you being here. I honor you taking the time out this morning for us. We record these so people can go back and regurgitate, because you just gave us, about 2 hours with information in 30 minutes. But thank you guys. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for really, being open to all this. We appreciate you very much, my friend.
Cool. See you guys all soon.
Thank you, Kenny. Cheers. Take care, man. All right, just real quick, as we're still recording, any takeaways from that? Any value, anything you want to have on the recording side? Remember, recording, so keep it, don't name names and different things, but any takeaways, anything you want to have on this particular recording? What'd you get out of this?
I'll start. I think he shared something that was pretty valuable, that was pretty quick. It may have been missed, is that everybody has their own magnetism, their own talents, their own way of doing things, their own thing that makes them attractive to others. And there's, 2 million agents out there in US and Canada. And so at times as leaders, it's easy to see, oh, well, Kenny's doing this, I need to do that. And oh, Simone's doing this, I need to do that. And Randy's doing this, and I need to get this. And you're just like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm stuck in mud here. I'm overwhelmed, as opposed to picking one thing that kind of matches with your personality and your magnetism and energy. That's going to be attractive. That's going to attract your tribe. And you'll probably have greater retention as well, because these are people that are like you, that, you know, love you and want to run with you. And then they will bring on other people that are slightly different, that will attract others slightly different. And before you know it, your group is actually quite diverse. But anyway, that was just kind of a big aha, is like, you know, stay in your lane, put the blinders on, like, you know, you are good enough, just keep doing what you're doing, and so on.
Agreed. And I got that, picked up on it too. You know, what I loved about it, and Simone picked up on it, is he's just not even focused on trying to be everything to everybody. He's laser focused in his specialty, which his specialty is marketing and the kind of the back end pieces of these systems. I really love that about what I heard. The mega agent team is obviously valuable. He doesn't lead with the $4,000 cap, which I found to be interesting, because that seems like a big value proposition. But in his world, it's not. It's the marketing and things that he does that allows him to be in that position to offer these support mechanisms and systems, right? So if you're listening to the call and you're by yourself in your real estate business, there's still ways for you to systematize and to bring in leverage with VAs, like Simone was posting, you know, with a full-time assistant. Once you get to about that 20, 25 transaction a year range, then an executive assistant or personal assistant will pay for themselves 2 or 3x. And, you know, we have to let go to let that take place, right? So Simone, you have your hand up. Any ahas, takeaways?
Yeah, for me, it was, I love how fast Kenny talks, right? And for me, the takeaway there is like, let's go fast, you guys. And Brent says this to us all the time. Do you want to go long and slow and painful, or do you want to just go like rev it up and go fast? And I believe people that speak as fast as someone like Kenny, they're up to big stuff in life. So that's my takeaway, is just go faster.
That's cool. I was drinking my coffee trying to keep up with Kenny at 8:30 in the morning Pacific time. So I totally agree. Anybody else? I want to make sure if you want to speak up, I see Renee in here. We see some big rock stars. Hi, Renee. Good morning.
One thing, Randy,
yes,
is if you want to survive, you've got to be a team. So that makes me think, go towards team, set the goal, go towards a team, and put a good team together.
Yeah.
And, I like that.
Thank you for saying that, Lisa. Let me expand on that. In my world, a team doesn't mean, it can mean different things for different people, right? It could mean your alignment. You don't have to give commissions away. It could mean joining a team where you're giving commissions away, but you have massive, value in the team, both in leads and support and coaching and whatever it may be. So find what's your niche, right? But being on an island is a challenge in a challenging market.
Yep.
Right. So we really have to be prospecting based, marketing enhanced. And I didn't say this because Kenny was pretty much the marketing guru, and I didn't want him to take it wrong. But in this market, you have to be forward paced, prospecting based, marketing enhanced. And a lot of people see what Kenny's saying and say, I'm going to go all in on marketing, but they're not doing any prospecting. In this market, will discipline those that don't discipline themselves, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that. I love it. Well, we're going to end this session of this. Oh, sorry, Renee. Yes, ma'am.
Randy, you and I just completed success coaching.
Yes, we did.
certification.
You're my success
Woo-hoo.
sister.
Thank you for the invite. And I wanted to say the question on team, one of the most important questions we as real estate agents can ask our colleagues when the topic of a team comes up is, what does team mean to you?
That's right.
Write that one down, because what
Write
we
that one
know,
down.
quite frankly, I think eXp Realty is a big driver and differentiator to the fact that team can take on many faces, and we can show up as leaders to offer solutions in how it could best serve the individual who's defining their version of team.
I love that, Renee, and that's why you're brilliant, is because that question, because everybody's got a different need, a different version, a different direction that they see in that. So great job. And remember, EXP is one global company. So effectively, we broke down the geographical boundaries, not only in your city, but in your state and in your country. So pretty exciting stuff. I love this. Thank you for sharing, everybody that shared, and thanks for being here. We had a great crew. I think we had 30 people on the call today. And, we appreciate that. I see some familiar
Randy,
faces, but I see a lot of new ones. Alita,
Quick question, sorry.
last one, yes.
I heard you guys bring up mega team. What exactly is that? And then 4,000 cap, is that when you get, at what point are you a mega team, and does that mean you get a 4,000 cap?
Yeah, so I'll give you the public facing information, right? So the standard agent is a $16,000 cap. And then if like I'm a team leader, I can have a standard team that is an $8,000 or a half of a cap, right? Because they're paying the team leader some money and EXP, so they balance this. So you have, an opportunity to earn income, but you're on a half a cap that has paid to the EXP. A quarter cap is the mega team. There's a very strict and high threshold for what is required to be a mega team. You could Google it, look in the EXP back office. But basically, there's an income threshold, there's a transaction threshold, there's also an agent threshold. Typically, it's 10 agents on your team, like a Tom Daves or a Renee Funk, big ballers, big producers. They get into a place to where they can have it. And I see she just posted it in the thing already. So thank you, Renee.
Thank you.
That's why brilliant minds make this so much easier. So click on that link. We're going to leave it in there so you can see it. But as I stop the recording, some of the, you'll be able to go back and see these links, but everything we talk about from this point forward, you won't be able to hear or see. Okay. All right. Awesome. I'm going to stop the recording.